Welcome guys, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. Just a little bit of clearing. Hey guys, it's been an interesting long day today. My energies were really good this morning, but as I get into the later afternoons today, my energy was really starting to drop, and just really feeling like I want to fall into somebody else's arms today. You know, I want someone else to catch me. So there may be a little sadness coming up in that respect, or just the energy drain. It's really tough energies. I have 3 planets in Capricorn, so I don't know if it's affecting me more than other people, but just definitely feeling it, as we're here at the end of the really strong Capricorn energies. So take a deep breath, everybody. I was just doing a little meditation to see what was coming up, and that's what I was getting. Literally, my little girl she just wanted to collapse into somebody else's arms, for a change. It was definitely that energy. The movie I saw last night was a really good movie, actually. It was called The Last Face. Definitely very heart-wrenching at times, but it was a really powerful movie. So if you'd like a good movie to watch that you don't mind crying a bit, that's a good one to help you release. And actually it was interesting because today's celebration of Martin Luther King, which I'd forgotten about because I don't think of the holiday, because my sister's birthday is January 15th, so I always think of it on the 15th. And my son had come out today mentioning to keep the dream, and that was actually the last speech in the movie last night. Was all about the dream. Even with the people with the least, if you ask them what they want, it has something to do with their creativity. What keeps the dream alive. So that was a very important message today. So besides Martin Luther, because that's the obvious today, a lot of stuff came up in my coding today regarding, it was trying to bring up the king, but not necessarily Martin Luther, since that's the very obvious energies today. So as I get to that, I'm going to let you know. It is January 20th, 2020, the 20 of the judgment, making decisions, making announcements, hearing that call to action, perhaps making a call or receiving a call. And the day is the Knight of Wands, the 25 that it adds up to today, which is a 7, which is that peaceful, more going within energy, but it's kind of a contradiction, because the Knight of Wands is so much about going outward. It's passion and running around, getting errands done, very physical, and expressing your desires, working out perhaps. But it's also the 7 at the same time, which is the Chariot. It's the power that comes from that rewind within, right? The buildup of the what's the word I'm looking for? The momentum that I always talk about in the rewind, whether it be a retrograde or just taking a step back, the way energy loops down, so we have an upswing and then we fall back, right? So because we have to slowly graduate our energy up and up and up. So as we go up, we keep coming back around in circles to make sure we're done with the old and then go back into the new again. So there's always going to be these dips, just like the that card that came up yesterday about the blood going from the heart to the limbs. When your blood's in your heart, or just about connecting to the etheric realms, you may connect very clearly at certain times, and then other times you feel so distant from the etheric realms. You feel really 3D and you can't connect. And it's about then in those times, knowing after you've done this cycle so many times that you have faith. It's teaching you faith, that you know it will come back. It always does. It's about the seasons and the cycles. And just having faith and patience, because we have no patience in this time and day and age. So we have the 20 of the Judgment and the 25 of the Knight of Wands. So you might not want to be too rash today about Judgment, because the Knight of Wands can really rush in there, right? And, you know, it's kind of, could be some Aries energy there. We're saying things before you think about what you're saying. Judging people before you think about what you're saying, right? Or doing, actually, too, because we have the Knight of Wands. So I cut the SIRIAN Starseed deck, which is my main deck for the read, the big cards, at 8:21 to 22 this morning, which is 21 of the World and 22 of the Fool. 8 is the Strength card. So completion, and then going on to the new. The Fool is about taking that leap of faith into that new cycle or new way of doing things. I completed the cards at 8:53 to 54, which is, 53 is the Catapult. It's the Knight of Swords. And 54 is the Page of Swords. So it's all about communications today. And then the Judgment card, you know, making decisions. So the Knight of Swords rushing in there with announcements, messages in a personal way, face-to-face. And then the Page of Swords, which has to do with more immature communication, whether it's messages or just a quick hi and goodbye, but all about communication in those energies. The major arcana for this read were Transition, which is the Death card. It's also Scorpio energies. And then Lovers. The Lovers came up, as well as Abundance, which is like the Empress, Gemini and Taurus. And then the Hanging Man for me is Capricorn, but can be associated with Pisces as well. And then the Great Wheel, the Wheel of Fortune, or for me that's Libra energy. And then after the read, Reflection came up, which is the Hermit or Virgo. So those are the major arcana and the major signs for the main part of the read. Of course, I have all the other signs coming up because I use the whole deck of the mini deck, so that's not significant. I have 2 Pentacles, 3 Swords, and 1 Wand in the read today, so mostly Swords. So people in too much in their head today, too much in their thoughts, which can lead you to that drained energy. There were no Cups in the read in front of you. However, you know, this was just this morning. As I pulled some other cards later on, there was very much Cups coming out. The masculine was coming up as the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups came up very prevalently in this read today, upright. The Knight of Wands was coming up reversed, all right? So there's 2 players here, a very loving player and a player, all right? So we'll talk about that as we get into the read. We have, there were no numerology cards in the code line today, and the number on the code line was number 10, which is that high vibration turn for the better, the Wheel of Fortune, Destiny. And we had double ones and triple tens, so it was all about the new beginnings. 10, 10, 10 is really high vibration, you know, toggling up. It's saying because it's easy to get too much in your head today with all those swords, Divine Masculine, to make sure you meditate or whatever you do to get yourself more connected to meditation. Whether that's a jog or working out in the woods, or just relaxing, taking a bath, whatever it is that helps you get there. Keep the vibration high. The double ones is the 11 of the Justice, Truth and Balance, and there weren't a lot of numbers coming up today. We have also, besides those I mentioned, 2, 31, 11, 10, 10, 10, but also 7 of the Chariot, 17 of the Star, 7, 10, which can be 71 plus the 0, which is the 3 of Pentacles, the co-creation card for me. 15 is the Devil, 67 is the Knight of Pentacles, the 79, the Pot of Gold at the end of the rainbow, and then 110 also came up, which can also be referenced as 11 with 0. For me, 0 is the source embodiment within a human, which also is that extra strength from source to back up the justice of the 11. So the code line message went a lot of different ways today. So, and beware of those distractions, because it, you know, can really take your energy away if you lose focus in too many different directions, which may have been what was my downfall today. So be aware of your weaknesses as far as distractions and other things, and be okay with calling yourself out on them. So a lot of acronyms were coming up here today in the code line. It was all about the Knight of Flames, or Adept of Flames in this deck, which is also the Knight of Wands. But the Knight of Wands in the read was reversed today. So that's a big challenge, right? That player energy. It was also my energy today of rushing in and then falling short, right? Not having that high energy that I normally would to get through my reads. It also can reference holding back your passions and your desires, which also can drain your energy. We also have the 10 of the high vibration, and pi also came up, the circle, the half circle. That can also be the half moon, which is basically where we are right now, in between the full and new moon, which for me is a really sweet spot to do things. You're not affected by the new or full moon, and actually I was born right at that spot as well, so it's a really good spot for me. But it's kind of like that 0 point, that moderation, the middle point. We have the T of the toggling up. Also the touch tone or touch stone was coming up, and that has to do with touchstones like Martin Luther King. Okay, what makes you feel good, what inspires you. And one of the acronyms came up at one of the meetings was in time of the king. And then today was Martin Luther King, but other stuff came up in regards to this, so it was pretty funny. And Teddy Roosevelt came up with TR. So Theodore, because it said that he didn't like the nickname Teddy, actually. So Theodore Roosevelt came up as in time of the king. And let's see, and coming up, the touchstone at bat. Who's at bat today, right? Who's coming into play with the energies that we're addressing of the day? So toggle up to whatever that means for you. That high energy, the trill, the 101010, the touch tone, the sounds, or the touched stone, something you can reach out and touch, or someone. And the touchstone can very much reference, like I said before, the Excalibur sword in the stone referencing the divine feminine in her sorrow, awakening when the last final sword is pulled out of her heart, and that stone then comes alive again. So it's just referencing too, like Martin Luther King. Every time you reference him, it pulls that sword out and makes him alive again. What his cause was, what he believed in, what he did for other people, and it inspires you. So whatever's coming up to bat today, at bat was coming up. 1 came up in 2 different acronyms. They both had the meaning of 1. The ash, almost everything. The Knights Templar came up as well, and being centered as the pi, the human embodiment, a source of the circle with the line down the middle, which is the centered masculine and feminine, being balanced between both energies. So AB came up, which really was more AE, but just since the acronym came up, I'm going to give you some of the definitions of AB. It's alabamine is in chemistry, antibody, able seaman, airborne, airman basic, Alberta, California was coming up, anti-ballistic, that was important, abdomen as well, the blood group AB, as well as just referencing about or of, and at bat, or how many times at bat. Then the TR came up, and TR for me is that the trill, the touchtone, the touchstone stuff, but also is tincture, trace, train, transaction, transitive. In the time of the king is TR, and Theodore Roosevelt came up there. Treasurer, Turkey, the trill, which is like the trill that I talked about, the high vibration. Translated, tons registered. How heavy are things? The energy is very heavy today. And trust receipt came up. Get a receipt for a trust. Right? What proof do you have that there's trust here? That's kind of an interesting energy that's just come up now. And then AE was coming up. Of course, arts and entertainment comes up. But the AE in Old English, which is now referenced to as just the E, so now just E, or replaced by E, and for me, E has to do with the Elohim, and also humans connecting with others. But also, it's still, the AE still exists in proper names like Caesar, as well as in scientific types of words, like elements and things. So AE references Scott. In Scott, it means 1. The ash, replaced by E, account exec, American English, and the pen name of George William Russell came up, and Russell came up again, which I don't know why this other Russell came up under AE, but it did. arts and entertainment at the age of, or the aged is AE, as well as almost everyone. Agricultural engineer, associate in education, associate in engineering, the United Arab, and Russell. The other Russell was Henry Norris from 1877 to 1957, who's an American astronomer who studied binary stars, methods to calculate mass and distance, relationship between the stars and their magnitude, which I brought up before on my little pie chart that I did, because the number of magnitude was coming up as well, which is that 2.512. So the relationship of brightness, of the stars. And this was coming up, the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram is under that magnitude, and that was, there was a reference to 1910 there. And then the 1910, that year came up again in the stuff. So that year was important, so stuff from that year is coming up as well. So going back to the code line, pi is definitely coming up, but also the temper tantrums, as well as the rabid test, right? What's your test of your temper? Getting rabid, because also the anti-ballistic was coming up, and the rabbit test. Okay, and that could be a pregnancy test as well, but had to do with the test of flames. Drama, fire, wands, the fire department, right? So fire's coming up. The 10 of destiny, the high vibration, good fortune, and then pi sigma kappa was coming up, a pi epsilon kappa as well. And the balance between the masculine and the feminine. Let's see here. So then first pi sigma kappa came up for me, and then I realized it wasn't really pi sigma kappa I wanted to look for. It was pi epsilon kappa, and I'll tell you why in a second. So both were important here because they had some good information in them. Pi sigma kappa, Phi Sig or PSK, is a men's fraternity with 74 chapters and colonies in North America. Most of the first 24 were granted schools in New England and Pennsylvania, and they promote, as their 3 principles, the promotion of brotherhood, stimulation of scholarship, and the development of character. It was established March 15th, 1873, and it was a Massachusetts agricultural college in Amherst, and it was established by 6 sophomores. So there you go, sophomores. You see where just a little bit of ingenuity can go, right? So they were the founders, and Phi Sigma Epsilon merged with them in 1985, so it became even bigger. It's the largest merge of Greek letter frats. One of the founders was William Penn Brooks, which of course stood out to me because I'm in Pennsylvania. It's William Penn. He actually did the constitution for the fraternity and the symbol. And the symbol were cryptic characters that could not be pronounced by outsiders. The outsiders had referred to their symbols as the T, the double T, and the upside down T, which kind of cracked me up because that's everything that was in my code line today. We had the T of toggle up, the double T, which is pi or temper tantrum, and then also the T upside down has to do with toggling down or grounding, anchoring into the earth. The beta chapter of this fraternity is at Union College. And there was a picture of Union College here from 1910. So again, that year came up. And then they showed the picture of the symbols of the T's and why they were called T and double T and upside down T, because that's basically what they were. It's a right side up T, an upside down T, and in between it is a T on its angle with another line across. So this fraternity went through the Depression, civil rights of the 1950s, blacks pledging at that time, and the Depression of the 30s and 40s. So they've been through all of these changes, and then in 1980, the merger with the other fraternity. So then the next fraternity came up, which was Pi Epsilon Kappa. This was a professional co-ed fraternity for kinesiology students. Very interesting. So a very modern type fraternity, and it was co-ed, men and women, a balance of the divine masculine and feminine. So this is bringing this into the forefront of things today. They deal with health and fitness, dance, exercise, sports, sports medicine, athletic training. And then the acronym EK also came up, which again means one. So AE references one, as well as EK referencing one. So having to do with the unity consciousness and the one. It also references I, let's go, to drive. It also can reference EK like X, like EX, just with a K instead of the X, coming from Latin. And then out, out of, out from, made from, all are references to EK, as well as fish, and with, also, in addition, besides, not, oak, I, annex, someone, anyone, and also all reference to EK. But just very significant to me was the oneness from the EK and the AE. And because we have co-ed now coming up from this more modern fraternity. So we go back to the code line again, and the Knight of Wands, the 10 of the high vibration, when you're feeling drained and you can't go on, falling short in energy or passions and desire, and needing to center your masculine and feminine again into oneness. It was like the EK versus the AB first, the antibody versus the anybody versus the antibody, keeping your eye on the ball as versus antibody at bat. And then AE versus AB, which was more of the one versus the antibody, right? So that's rejection of your body as opposed to the one, which accepts all bodies. So let's see here. Speak softly and carry a big stick. Wife and mother. I was getting for somebody there. For him. So Theodore Roosevelt. Some of his words were speak softly and carry a big stick, referencing the Knight of Wands. And his mother and wife died the same day, which came up today, so that may have happened to somebody recently who's listening here, a masculine or a feminine. And I'm sorry if that's the case. My condolences if that's the case to you. I have toggling up, so not only Martin Luther King, but the time of the king, Theodore Roosevelt, who won the Peace Prize in 1906 for ending the Russo-Japanese War in 1904-5, and the youngest president in history until JFK. Let's hear. He was 1901 to 1909, the 26th president. 26 is the Page of Wands. And let's see here. In 1919, they referenced that he said that no man has had a happier life than I have led, a happier life in every way. And then in 1910, since he wasn't 1910 and that year kept coming up, I'm like, well, who's the president after that? Maybe I'm not supposed to be referencing Theodore Roosevelt, and then William Taft comes up after that. He was the 27th president, so here's that Ace of Wands energy at bat, then 1909 to 1913. And so that covered 1910, of course. He was also the only one who was the Supreme Court Justice. So he was more conservative, more very Saturn-like, right? With these energies of Capricorn that we're in right now. So then I was guided to go to the year 1910. And so just from wikipedia.org, the en.m.wikipedia.org, just all of the main events of 1910, and just some of the highlights that came up from that time. So March 9th, and it was interesting, the first two headings, March 9th and March 14th, which are my daughter's due dates and her birth date. She was due on the 9th and born on the 14th, and of course 314 is pi. And 39 is the Knight of Cups, which came up upright in the read all day today. So in 1910, on March 9th, 17, what did I write, Westmoreland County in PA, which is so weird because there was a, I just noticed online, and I think it was Westmoreland too, like a huge pileup like 2 weeks ago on the turnpike in Westmoreland County, PA, where like 60 people died. Don't quote me on that. But it's just weird because I thought it was Westmoreland, but I hadn't referred back to it. But here it is in 39 Westmoreland County, PA. And this, again, is 1910. Was a coal strike, 1910 to 11. Oh, it was a 17-month. That's what that was. It lasted 17 months. 65 mines and 15,000 miners. Then so strikes might be coming up for you guys. On March 14th, the Lakeview Gusher is vented into the atmosphere. So the oil well in Kern County, California, released into the air. The depth that they had drilled at that point was 2,440 feet down, which finally ended in September of 1911. The Lakeview Oil Company partnered with Union Oil Company because they wanted to get their storage tanks in there. 9 million barrels escaped before the gusher was controlled in September of 1911. Initially, it was pouring out 18,800 barrels a day of oil into the air. On June 19th, first unofficial Father's Day was observed. On July 4th, 1910, the African-American boxer Jack Johnson beats James J. Jeffries in heavyweight championship match, sparking race riots across the U.S. Okay, so here we are with Martin Luther King Day. There was another entry here that also had to do with that. On 11/4, Antonio Rodriguez was burned at the stake, and we're talking 1910 here, burned at the stake near Rock Springs, Texas, after he was arrested a few days earlier for the murder of Mrs. Henderson. His murder then incites race riots in Texas and Mexico. So we talk about burning at the stake, and we think this is so ancient, but here, you know, it's happened much more recent, I'm sure, than 1910 as well. So race riots were coming up, to not forget, but not hold on to it either, to let it go. Then we have, on August 20th and 21st of 1910, the Great Fire of 1910, 3 million acres in northeast Washington, also North Idaho and West Montana, over 2 days kills 86 people, the largest recorded fire in U.S. history. So this is a big year. October 1st, the LA Times bombing, 21 died. And then 1010, which is that high vibration number of October 10th. Tau Epsilon Phi, so fraternity comes up here, and it's had nothing to do with the fraternities that came up in my coding. Tau Epsilon Phi frat was founded by Jewish men at Columbia University, right? So the first Jewish frats, because they weren't accepted at other fraternities in 1910. On October 11th, Theodore Roosevelt, first former president to ride in an airplane. And then November 4th, I told you that one, the first air flight, commercial freight, Dayton to Columbus, Ohio, and that was the Wright brothers, along with department store owner Max Morehouse. And then on November 17th, Ralph Johnstone, the pilot for Wright exhibition team, dies after the machine literally breaks apart in midair in front of 5,000 spectators. So he was the first to die in an airplane crash in the U.S. That was November 17th, 1910. So some crazy stuff happened that year, 1910. So, toggle up that touchstone, trill to oneness, the ash, the A&E, the arts and entertainment, the night of flames, the drama, destined high vibration, and then the half moon. This is a good time to stay balanced, to make sure you're centered into your oneness. Toggle up the time of the king and the oneness, replaced by E, or the Elohim, the after-death test of drama. And then 10 Greeks were coming up, and 10 geeks. So that has to do with the intellectuals of the fraternities, because these initial ones were very much based on intellectualism, and they may have been a little bit elitist as well. But the 10 Greeks and the 10 geeks. So ancienthistorylist.com came up for the top 10 Greeks. And of course, I just talked about Poseidon and Zeus the other day. And so they were coming up again. The order was Zeus first, Hades second, and Poseidon third. This is not out of popularity, though. Maybe just how known they are. 4 was Prometheus. 5, Prometheus was very popular. He had created mankind and very attached to them, right? So he was literally like the father of mankind, right? So if he created man, as opposed to Zeus, who really didn't care about the humans. So Zeus took the fire away from man because he used to get into it with Prometheus. So Prometheus stole it back, and then he was punished by being chained to a rock with an eagle pecking at his liver every day, which he regenerated because he was a god every day. And then he was finally freed by Hercules, Zeus's son. Right? So Zeus could be, a little bit of a jerk, it looks like. But it was really cool that Prometheus loved his humans because he made them. He had an attachment to them. They were endearing to him. So number 5 was Dionysus, who was very popular because he was pleasure-seeking. He had a mortal mother, as well as did Hercules, had one mortal parent. So again, Dionysus' father was Zeus, and he was in love with Adriane. Number 6 was Apollo, the twin of Artemis. Father Zeus, serenity and music were his focuses. The silver bow usually came with Apollo as well. Healing and medicine god, but also when enraged would bring about great depth and despair and use his arrows. He would harness his 4-horse chariot and move the sun across the sky every day, right? Providing light and life to the earth. So that was very interesting. Because of his anger, he promoted the sun to go across the sky for the humans. And then 7 was Kronos, the strongest. He's like the old way of doing things, right, that we're leaving behind. He was suspicious of his kids because of the way he treated his father, Uranus. And so he swallowed Zeus and Poseidon and Aphrodite. And the mother Gaia and wife Rhea rescued Zeus, who then rescued the others, and then banished Kronos to the underworld. And then after that became the Olympian deities. So they were much more well known than Kronos and those before him. Number 8 was Ares, and he was also a child of Zeus. He is the god of war, of violence, and imprudence. His parents didn't like him. They liked Athena better. And he was in love with Aphrodite, which he had an affair with because she was already married. Hephaestus, I'm not sure how his name is pronounced. Hephoestus? Hephaestus? I'm not sure. But anyway, he's the god of fire and heaven, and he was crippled. So the stories differ on how he got crippled, how he got his limp. He may have gotten in the middle of a fight between Zeus and Hera, and Zeus or the mother, one or the other, threw him off Mount Olympus. So he kind of was pushed out of Mount Olympus to go down to the earth, and there he was a craftsman, and then he made his way back to heaven and actually initiated the shields for the gods, like Achilles in the Battle of Troy. Number 10 was Hermes, the messenger, the son of Zeus. And he was very handsome, athletic, and cunning. He liked thievery because he entertained himself that way. He was like a mutable sign. He amused himself with tricks. It reminded me of a Gemini energy. And playing innocent, like an imp. He was just playing. He wasn't doing it out of malintent. But because he was just entertaining himself, he liked to be a trickster and play innocent. So again, back to the code line, toggling up touchstones. So not only these famous people like Martin Luther King and the presidents, but the stars, the oneness, the ash, replaced by the Elohim. The magnitude, the brightness of the star. Remember, the brightness from the earth doesn't mean that the one you see as brightest is actually the brightest, because it depends on the distance away from the earth. So it has to do with your perspective. The Knight of Wands and the Chariot come up, and the 10 of the high vibration, being your destiny and the lucky, the turn for the better, and being centered between your masculine and feminine in the oneness, all coming up. And then from the band, the wild, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, I get knocked down, then I just get right back up. I get knocked down, then I get right back up. So magnitude came up, of course, from en.m.wikipedia.org. Magnitude, and I've discussed this also before in my charts, in my pie chart, where just like in the monad, whereas the human eye, and it has to do with what the human eye can see, right? Because the color spectrum, we can see a lot with our human eye, but there's even more that can be seen with our equipment now, right? Because there's so much more than what we actually can see in our dimension. There's so much more to be seen in other dimensions. But with the human eye, I described this with magnitude regarding the monad, that like the peak of the monad is the twin flame, and so their brightness is the greatest, right? So when the twin is on Earth, that would be someone who you can most easily see, like their auric field, because they radiate the light. They have a very strong light to them. But then when you go down to the pyramid, from the 1 to the 2 and then the 3 of the monad, the 2 would then be about 40% of that light, and then the 3 at the bottom would be even less, maybe, you know, from 1 to 15% of light. So you could barely see their auric light for that. And that's in the top 6 monad to the twin. We're not just talking about the general population. We're talking about the light that you're able to put out there in a very high energy person, the starseed type energies, or a very high soulmate. So magnitude was coming up, and how bright you shine your light. And then we started into the read here. There's you see magnitude in 2 different ways. One is considered apparent, which is how we see it from the earth. But like I said, if they're farther away, doesn't mean they're less bright. It's just the perspective. So you've the apparent magnitude and the absolute magnitude, which takes the distance into consideration. So we start this read with Scorpio, and the transition card right here. Transition. With the 10 of Swords reversed beneath it, as well as the 10 of Cups upright, the Knight of Swords reversed, and the 6 of Swords upright. Death and transition portal, the change and transformation. After the worst is over, the bliss sets in, the 10 of Cups emotional fulfillment, and the masculine holding their tongue in order to find peace. The Knight of Cups here in this read is up to bat, because he's the one upright, being love, and definitely came up as the masculine today. And this is taking over for the Knight of Swords, who's been coming up a lot, right? The Messenger of Truth has been upright a lot, but today Messenger of Truth is reversed. It's time to hold your tongue. It's time for the Knight of Cups to strut their stuff. They're up to bat. So sharing or settling out for release, in bailing one out perhaps. The 10 of Cups fulfillment of the Knight of Swords reversed, and the Queen of Swords reversed side by side, but they're both upside down facing each other, both holding their tongues around the Emperor reversed if they want to be happy, right? So there's some negative energy here, but it's about the 2 are just in fear, being quiet because of the Emperor. Either sham-fam of verbal abuse amongst each other, or kids always fighting and arguing, and the Emperor has had it. Out of control abusive power, or uprising of the young, the kids, and ego death or fall of the patriarchy, the father, or kids or couples arguing over paternal inheritance at 12-12, which is the hangman and the hangman. And then paterno is coming up. Freeing them from prison, anxiety, and fear. Right, so any heavy-handedness. And now people getting bailed out. 12-12. So there was a gnat hanging around me my whole read today, like for hours. There was a gnat. And, you know, for a gnat to be around what I'm doing as I'm turning my book and or moving, you know, gets squished so easily or hurt. But that gnat persisted, staying with me all day. So then Nat King Cole came up as well, but that comes up in the read at some point. And so what the message the gnat was bringing is the risk that some are willing to take if they're in good energy. Strength of one with big palms and feet tackling the boar or the feast, walking away, avoiding the situation. A new passion burning the past for the new growth to come up. Sharing, even if it's difficult at times. Confining people together until they work it out, with breaks to cry if needed. The Knight of Pentacles reversed is coming up about stubbornness that's not healthy, not reaching out to offer something better or more palatable, more pleasing to both parties. Try it or taste test in small doses. Don't force yourself too much at a time. Some won't eat apples unless they're sliced for them. Others with an aversion to green things. Try it again, you guys, and you'll see. Maybe this time you'll like it. You may be different now than you used to be. And don't stuff yourself, since you won't want to get up afterwards. You will want to lay down. Detoxing all of this one step at a time. Don't force others to do things your way. Still yourself. And unclog your ears. Right at this time when I wrote still yourself, my ears went out like they would on an airplane. Not painfully, but just the sound. And it really wanted you to stop and be silent for a minute, to unclog your ears, to listen for a change, to something other than your own outer voice. And Leo upright and Aries reversed was coming up here. Be still and listen, as opposed to resistant and stubborn. Allow a different perspective to come in. Even if you're pregnant and nauseous, maybe you need to change to constant small doses of food. Try different fruit. Listen to your cravings. If you need to rest, rest. Your body knows best. Allow the change. Justice is out or jury is out. Divorce, settlement, or Libra taking a peek at what's going on out there. Lots of cups, walking away and within, a little socializer or celebration, and then grounding and integrating an offer of love to expand again. The foundation with a gap in it, perhaps a betrayal, or space left open without filling it in. 3 come together, 3 others are supportive, and 2 are still, with things to work out face to face, needing space to ground and integrate. Trinity comes up here above and 3 below, and then 1-to-1 grounding at base of the tree. 1 heart within, 1 without, 2 as 1 merge, devout. 3 in pumpkin patch under the eclipsed moon, while you were grounding integrating under the tree during the day. Charlie Brown and Lucy in the sky with diamonds. If others always lifted you up and you never touched the ground, they keep you dependent on them to lift you up and bring you down. Time for the flyers to come down off the high horse or the podium or the stage, to truly ground yourself and sit under a tree. The middleman's job is going to be taken away. Direct to the source is now the way. Wedding comes up, right? This situation involves marriage, and beneath that was give your relationship a chance. But then you realize that the cards that come out here, which aren't up in the read yet, but release your ex is the first card out for the masculine today. Hierophant is upright here on one side, and the Queen of Wands reversed on the other, falling from grace onto the High Priestess, secret or psychic abilities, and etheric pillars of Merkaba, and grounding the Emperor reversed. Trading positions, the Fool on top, the Emperor on bottom, both reversed. Taurus upright, Pisces upright, but Aries both reversed. 1244 is the Hangman, grounding and integrating that offer of love, the 4 of Cups. The Queen of Wands reversed and the Fool reversed, part ways of religious belief. At 12:45, which is then that 5 of Cups, that grieving card, or the Y in the road, needing to let go of the past to go forward without waiting for the new to come in, the Hierophant and the High Priestess are taken out of the equation, allowing Aries to fall and take the heat. The Emperor falls on face or from grace and lacking faith, the High Priestess on top, or could be behind it all as well. The loyal pup is innocent but falls along with the foolish Emperor reversed, on a hook perhaps, or a curved needle, or Jack fell down and broke his crown and Jill came tumbling after. The rise of intuitives and olive oil, lotus and apricot kernels, Matterhorn, Swiss and Italian Alps, Taurus, Queen of Wands reversed, foolish Viking or Middle Eastern, Greek Italian, or with a secret with the Emperor reversed, or using a secret against him. Forgiveness comes up, which is 96, and beneath that is time out, which is number 37, the King of Cups, unconditional love. So unconditional love has to do with taking a time out and loving yourself first. Divine timing and destiny here, but keeping a low profile, the destiny that is, in debt, scam, or inequity of relations or distributions and or settlements. Being patient with fire and ice and reaping rewards of apricot kernels or trees. So the apricot tree is coming up here and linked to DNA. And this is something I know something about because I was in research in the medical industry, but also because I was doing a lot of my own research for my back issues and then my concussion issues, and of course for my cancer patients at work. So here with the apricot kernels coming up in the trees, the apricot kernels are, you may have heard it by different names like Laetrile and amygdalin, vitamin B17. The population of the Hunzas in North Pakistan are a society in near perfect health. And there was a lot of research done on these people because they lived a very healthy life. And they literally, had no issues there. They ate little sugar and drank raw milk and bone broth, fresh grains and veggies, and plenty of exercise, and massive quantities of apricot kernels, seed kernels. Okay, but the FDA banned all of this, saying it was poisonous, which, is a whole nother story. There's cyanide within apricot kernels, but the human body actually doesn't get to that cyanide because the human body doesn't have the enzyme that breaks down that. And even if it does, the body has a way of blocking that from getting in. The only thing that opens up the cyanide is the cancer cell. So if the cancer cell is in the human body, then the amygdalin gets broken open and then it gets used. It's like the Trojan horse, right? The Trojan horse is like, using sugar to get into a cancer cell and then having something with the sugar that kills the cancer cell. Well, amygdalin in the apricot kernels is the most, the heaviest dose of it. It's in many of our foods, but in the way that they process our foods in the United States, they process all the amygdalin out of the natural foods, which is why, like, I get my raw almonds from outside the country from Amazon, because they're not treated the way they are in the United States. They still have the amygdalin in them. But anyway, you can research that on your own. But the apricot trees were coming up because the society, they eat tons of the apricot seed kernels from the trees where they live all the time. And none of these people, there's no reports of them dying of apricot seed poisoning. So, and also the amygdalin's in like apple seeds, and when I do my shakes in the morning, I put the whole apple in there. I don't take the seeds out. I put my almonds, and I used to have the apricot kernels as well. I would put them in my shakes. So, but of course, check if you have any issues, check with your doctors. They don't all know all of this information, so advocate and look online, do your research before you accept the final word of a doctor that you see, because they don't know everything. The full moon eclipse in Cancer influencing new life, and the sun and the trees and the throwing stars, shooting stars, and sneaky little critters willing to take a risk using large stones and algae or plants that grow on or around rocks or big boulders. The secret's out, or need to use your intuition, eclipsing the man from the moon to clear your intuition, to recharge at the half moon like we are today, with full sun when having trouble connecting, And scoundrels are in your midst, looking for an opportunity to get in when you're feeling unsure or insecure, or your energy's down. Crabs are dressed or disguised as lobsters to steer you the wrong way. Remember, because the masculine comes up as the lobster a lot of times in this deck. The dark dogs are howling, releasing the full moon eclipse rays after the fact, frustrated and stressed out, knocking you off balance to make an offer you can't refuse, like the Godfather. The inner workings and the springs of the moon, the satellite, the rings around Saturn. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posy. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Saturn is the rose, the space between is the posy, or the pose, the stillness. And a posy, by the way, is a flower or small bouquet of sentiment. And then the rings are mostly water ice with trace rock components. And there's actually many rings with gaps, which references that poor foundation, right, that can fall. And the rings of Saturn, some believe are from like a moon remnant that exploded apart, came too close to Saturn when it was forming, and that kind of thing. So there are different theories about it, but it's mostly considered water ice, the rings around. So again, the ring around the rosy, pocket full of posy, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. So it's saying even the rings on Saturn have gaps in them, which could be a poor foundation. You never know when those rocks could fall down. Saturn, the rose, the space between Saturn and the rings is the posy, the flower, right? And there's actually a line from one of my songs. The beauty is in the flowers unfold. So it's the same kind of message coming up here. The flower or the small bouquet of sentiment. The rings mostly water ice and trace rocky component, and actually are made up of many rings with gaps in them. Just like the 8 of Cups card, there's always like one cup missing in the foundation there. It's unstable, forever in its rotation. The secret's out with big transformation, divine intervention, subtle and still. Information out meets resistance, grounding and integrating an offer of love, involving marriage, and the Emperor reversed, falling in need of forgiveness at 132, the Magician and the 6 of Wands, the Journeyman. The secret is out, but the High Priestess is now up and on, is like now up to bat and on target. At 133 is the Magician and the Christ vibration, the 7 of Wands, is standing up for yourself. In the recent past is the Ace of Pentacles upright, a new life now going forward.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you?
The Ace of Pentacles, since you didn't catch it, a new life, not reversed, is the Ace of Pentacles upright, a new life now going forward. It's on. Post-war and looting, PTSD, an eclipse in Cancer are behind thee. The Queen of Pentacles reversed is Leo and or ego, or taming the beast, or has been controlling the Divine Masculine. The Divine Masculine is standing up for himself in the awakening, and the foundation is no abundance, or the Empress is reversed. Resting and meditating but not connecting well in the 5D, or the High Priestess, transition portal, and in lack. A mother is ill or passed, or after a miscarriage, people trying to connect to the other side without much success. So this could be a lot of people experiencing deaths and funerals. Celebrations of life have been coming up recently, and some people may be trying to connect with their loved ones on the other side. So deaths, ends, people going through significant transformation, or Taurus hasn't heard from Pisces, or mother from daughter. The central energy is the Lovers reversed. The King of Wands, with his back turned, offers money or new life to the King of Cups reversed. There's a couple different scenarios here for sure. The King of Wands watching to see what Leo or Cancer Queen of Pentacles reversed does, or she's the one behind this offer of the King of Wands to the King of Cups. It's like the King of Wands looking back to her to see, is this what you want me to do? And the Queen of Pentacles reversed, and Leo could be King of Wands, the King of Wands. The King of Cups reversed is probably Scorpio here, but could be a group or partners of Cancer, Leo, and the Queen of Pentacles reversed. The King of Wands could be connected to Capricorn reversed as well, or it could be in their chart, in their moon or their rising. The male is more likely Scorpio, and female water signs that come up here may be Cancer and Pisces. The Leo King of Wands, or King of Cups reversed, could have Gemini in there as well, or lack of affection between them. The challenge being the Knight of Wands reversed, the player energy. And so before I start this, I want to preface this by saying this player can be the player in the way you're thinking, like they play women, but it also can reference kids, that they're literally in competition. They're just doing sports and things like that. So if the guy player doesn't fit your circumstance, it's because it's coming up in many different ways here. Whether it's literally the worst case scenario is the guy who plays women all the time, or it could be just someone falling short on energy, like they can't keep up like they did anymore. And it can be someone just holding back their passions or their desires, right? They're holding back until the right one comes along. Or, like I said, it's kids out there on the field, and some kids are definitely coming up, may have lost a competition here, and they're mad. There also could be teenagers getting played by a guy, like, the one guy who sleeps with all the girls, or getting girls to service them, which definitely comes up in every high school. So that's coming up here as well. The challenge being the King of Wands reversed, the player falling short or just holding back desires, Gemini and or Scorpio player, and the Page of Wands reversed, clearly frustrated with new information, offering sex to make up for lack of money or ability to manifest, Scorpio's strategy to recover from exile or finances or moral bankruptcy. The Queen of Wands reversed, never satisfied, and the Knight of Wands reversed, Sagittarius or drinker or potion maker with attitude and bad temper. The King of Swords is upright, planning recovery, pushing partner out of bed, offering it's the partner offering sex to him to make up for refusing to learn their lessons. Or young students are offering sexual favors to get in with the right guy, the girl, or the group. Growing loss, regret. The Knight of Cups offers love, or not growing, but grieving. Grieving, loss, regret, and the Knight of Cups offering love to the Knight of Wands reversed and the King of Cups reversed. And this could be a hard up water sign male. So this King of Cups reversed can be that player, the Knight of Wands reversed, because they're coming up together in two different spots. So like I said, Scorpio most likely was coming up here, but just because they appear like a player doesn't mean they are. It could be just someone who's insecure actually and wants to come off more cool, so they might come off the wrong way. In the aftermath of sudden events, epiphanies, or premature ejaculation was also coming up here, holding back feelings, desire, delayed communication or travel, and the King of Wands vents to be next to the he vents, but the King of Wands wants to be next to the Queen of Cups, but possibly can't face her. Him with his stick and she with her love, or the King of Wands offering payoff for taking the King of Cups reversed, wife or sister, so somebody might have had an affair, or paying him to go away, or the Queen of Pentacles reversed, or Leo gets the King of Wands to offer a job to the King of Cups reversed. No love, just solely business, or gifting this money and not expecting anything in return. It's just like, go away. Or the King of Wands found out the Queen of Pentacles reversed, gave the King of Cups reversed money, and is surprised, possibly done behind his back, so he couldn't fight with her about it. Or this is a payoff for a wrongful death, or injury in a horse or jogging accident, or a bridge. Or the Knight or the King of Wands is trying to make peace with the King of Cups reversed because he's close to the Queen of Cups, but the Queen of Wands reversed is now pissed. And that's at 2:15, the High Priestess and the Devil. The King of Swords is pushing his partner out of bed to sleep around with young girls, or is threatening his partner to do so, because it's like, just like the feminine is trying to get the masculine to wake up, the masculine is trying to get his partner to wake up. And if she refuses to wake up, or literally get out of bed in the morning, it's like the masculine is threatening, like pushing her out of bed and threatening her that he's going to go sleep around with young girls if she doesn't do what he needs, right? So Gemini Sagittarius could be morally destitute and trying to change their ways now. And now the Page of Swords upright comes in here in the crowning position with news, message, or a child home after a fight or competition and lost. Suffering in silence, the Knight of Cups offers love by offering a prize. So it's like kids, who've lost a competition, so they're whining about it. They're all upset because they lost a competition. And it's like the parent offering, or the masculine even, offering them like a payoff for their suffering instead of just allowing them to go through the suffering that they need to go through. So it's like they're trying to never let them feel any pain, which is not serving them. So the Page of Swords, news, message, or child, home after fight or competition and lost, suffering in silence, the Knight of Cups offers love by offering a prize, a dream, or to spend money on something they love in order to fix them. Not using their intuition about this, or upset because a secret is out, or fell in the middle of their routine or competition. Or news or a message of suffering in silence and unable to function, or refusing to work, the Knight of Cups is home, seeing synchronicities, and no conflict at the moment, possibly after a fight or competition, in the slowdown, but still stressed out or on strike. The Queen of Pentacles reversed in a split, impatient to leave, or played by lover, pulling the sword out of her own heart, and thus, because when you all know, when you pull a sword out of your body, you bleed out. Unhappy, unsatisfied, and recovering from the King of Swords strategy, offering love, rendering them helpless, and then reeling them in, getting them to spend their money on them. So this is coming up like the player, even though the Divine Masculine may be the Knight of Cups here, and it doesn't have to be, it can be a child, it can be anyone else really, but being love, it's coming up like, and the Knight of Cups is upright here, but still can come off as they're insincere. So because there's so few people who are always loving to everyone, someone who's loving to everyone is going to be construed as a player because they're not going to believe they're real. So it's coming up like people are seen as a team of manipulators in business where they suck their customers in by kissing up to them and, being loved to them. And this is the energy that's coming in right here. So offering love that then renders their clients helpless, reeling them in to get them to spend money, and then detox them of chaos. So like having a partner who then deals professionally with people who have mental issues, right? So once you make them go out of their mind, then their partner can fix you. And then you make even more money. The Queen of Wands reversed partner to shed light on all of the issues and wounds. And it's like, too, it's like help again. Here's the Queen of Wands reversed partner to shed light on the issues and wounds. Entrapment of the Knight of Cups offering love, the friendly guide to those who have given up and need detox or addictions, with the doctor being in and shedding light, or to massage where they do favors under the radar, keeping them coming back for more. Like it's a ploy to get more business, just like a massage parlor that's on the front, a normal place that does massage, but actually offering sexual favors to make more money under the table. And of course, then the clients would never say anything because they'd be humiliated in public. So keeping them coming back for more and would never want to disclose that to anyone. News about the Queen of Pentacles reversed and the Queen of Wands reversed in a split, or the Queen of Pentacles reversed and the King of Swords, or the King of Swords is a lawyer, a killer Gemini lawyer. She unsatisfied with her recovery with the Queen of Wands reversed, the Queen of Pentacles reversed, and the Queen of Wands reversed standing up for herself with big family support. So the Queen of Pentacles reversed is pissed about that. And then in separation with the Knight of Cups, offering love to others, like the Knight of Wands reversed. So this could be like the masculine offering love to other women or whoever. And then ladies can't resist him. Or a teen Casanova having sex with your kids and many others. A kid's father may be a player, so this child is acting like his father and having sex with all the girls. Or the information was held back from the King of Wands and the Queen of Cups who didn't know this was going on. The Knight of Cups came up ×3, and so did the Knight of Wands reversed, which is the player, and the Queen of Wands reversed, never satisfied, may need a doctor for her addiction. She may be used to getting her own way with men due to her wealthy family background, and then soon coming up was that Ten of Pentacles family again, upright, or a business or legacy. Feeling a failure with bad news coming in, or doing things under the radar, perhaps hiring kids under the table, or doing bad things under the table, or difficult kids, or a negative past, or the past now returning with bad news, now wising up to players, or letting go of emotional attachments and holding back desires, dropping burdens, responsibilities, or confessing deliberations or poor decisions in a message, news, or spreading the word at 301, which is the Empress and the Magician. But remember, the Empress and I think the Magician too, they're both reversed in this read. The Eight of Pentacles working to align, the Knight of Swords holding their tongue with issues at work, the Devil never satisfied. It's never enough at 302, which is the Empress and the High Priestess. Needing detox of chaos and or addictions. Children of wealth and addiction. It's never enough, right? When kids are spoiled, then they have no appreciation for anything. And then it's kind of like that energy coming up. The Divine Masculine is seeing himself as the Ace of Swords reversed, which can be a split or divide, or can see himself as a liar or needing to cut through the BS. Or cut to the chase. In the aftermath of sudden event or epiphany, impatience, bad temper of fallen angel, of Taurus, marriage, religion, establishment, or societal norms. Heartbreak and separation, rain clearing away with new information to the Queen of Cups. Release your ex, playfulness and chemistry all came up for the Divine Masculine. Around him or how he is seen is the Seven of Swords reversed. Maybe still a little sneaky or coming clean or getting clean, or a risk taker, uncalculated, or now being more careful, looking back or living in the past, their world upside down, or the cycle's incomplete for sovereign, working to align with what makes your world right, side up, and third party through work, without choice, issues at work, or leaving to go out on your own, Divine Masculine. You need to clear blocks of the Hanging Man reversed, right? Having blocks about new ideas, or about a big head or a big ego, or the awakening process, or having blocks about choosing a new path, exposing all about the Page of Cups reversed and the Page of Wands reversed. My gnat is still here, by the way. Or rejection and frustration, love and desire, battle of the sexes, or childhood issues. Choosing to speak up, the truth about mistakes and failures, to shine your light no matter what it's on. Grieving rejection, proposing to one who's thinking of another and being dumped. The wheel is reversed, slow down, twist of fate, with the Knight of Cups heartbroken, still offering love, while the Knight of Wands reversed, King of Cups reversed, is falling short and holding back their desires and passions, withholding. The worst is over for the Empress reversed, in a breakup or no affection, or being taken advantage of. And by the way, some of these could be deaths that have already happened, but they're coming back up in this read. So in the past month or whatever it is, somebody could have lost either parent, a mother or a father, and then the other one is grieving because the Emperor and the Empress are both reversed, and it just comes up as that kind of energy. Or kids are growing up and they're helping out more, and parents who can't keep up like they used to, grieving loss or regret, guilt or shame. The Magician is manifesting foolishly or causing their own fall to find peace away from the chaos, the warpath, the brokenness, canceling a move or a trip perhaps. And the Hermit with light, being still, on strike, disabled, or just can't function with these energies, suffering in silence. And there may be a sister involved here. Stressed out or up nights purging. The Two of Cups, the connection, the partners, the soulmates perhaps, holding on, grounding, saving, being moderate. And the King of Pentacles. Dumped or dumped on, or in the dumps, or crying, overwhelmed, tripping up, dropping the facade, the act, breaking patterns, and grieving is weighing heavy on the King of Pentacles' head. Depression, loss of hope of the King of Swords. In a death, end, or dark night, the portal is open and he's walking through it. Partners call it quits. The King of Pentacles is grieving a loss with the King of Swords in a death or end of partnership and walking the 4D bridge. And this was at 331. Transition after the worst is over of pain with the Ten of Cups, completion. Holding tongue to find peace through portal, death, and end of the Empress reversed in a split or divide. And again, it could be someone who passed away already, or just lies, cutting through the BS, coming clean or getting clean for a new life, breakup, or no affection, and challenged by playing or the player, or falling short on energy or desire, or just holding back desires from the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, in awakening to the light. With news, message, or child with the light, in a twist of fate, or downturn, or slow down, or slow motion, to see it very clearly. Grieving the hermit out of work, suffering in silence, or the sister involved, the death walk, or a long walk of shame across the 4D bridge. Transition portal to new life over the rainbow bridge with the secret out. The Empress reversed, or just lack in general, due to a breakup or no affection, or lost a child, or challenged by the Knight of Wands reversed, falling short on energy, desire, a split, divide, and lies, cutting through the BS of the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or legacy, coming clean, getting clean, in awakening, in a twist of fate, starting with a small message of light, grieving, hermiting, being still or not working, suffering in silence, or hanging out with your sister, stress or purging, connecting with tears, allowing the depression, or grieving a friendship. Okay, so that is the read. And I'm just going to pull a couple oracle cards and show you the cards before I go. Let's see here. Let's see what's pulling all this together. Let's go to the animal deck, see what wants to come up. So today is January 20th, 2020. For everybody watching, the best and highest good of all those concerned. What do we need to know? What do we need to learn? Let's clear all negative energy across all dimensions of time, space, matter, and realities for the highest good of all this concerned, and filling that empty space with only beautiful, divine love and diamond crystalline light. And so it is. What do we need to know about this read? What was the point of the message? A little choppy here. Okay. These definitely want to be coming out, be seen. Ten of Winter and the Queen of Winter. So the Ten of Winter is the Siberian Husky dog. The end of a career path, project, or relationship brings feelings of mixed joy and sadness, relief and disappointment. Put aside your fears about these changes and trust that a brighter future awaits. All right, so that may be the uncomfortable feelings you're feeling. They're both blue, so all about the throat chakra through the third eye. The Queen of Winter, experienced, self-sufficient, brilliant, and funny. The Leopard. All of your life experiences have prepared you for this moment of truth. It's time to declutter your home, clear away situations that aren't working for you anymore, and disengage from people who create more drama than happiness. Okay? So time to clear things up. I definitely need to do that. And then the underlying energy here is the Five of Summer, which is the dragonfly. Focus on the fact that God loves you and always has the highest of intentions for you. A positive outlook makes it easier to recover from life's little difficulties so that you can move onward and upward. Okay. All right, let's see here. Let's do this is the energy. No, this is Nature's Whispers. Take a deep breath. What is our message from Nature's Whispers? What do we need to know? What do we need to learn from this message today? It was 1:14:04 just now as I'm looking. Patience. The 1, the 14, and the 4. The Magician and the Emperor needing patience. Okay, and this is the card. Heighten your vitality, which definitely I agree with that. 49 is the 9 of Cups, the Get Your Wish card. Heighten your vitality. So it's like, you know, see how she's kind of like brownish. When she looks like she's a little ill. When you're feeling drained in your energies. Saying, find a source of light to bring your energy back up again. There's many different ways of doing this. Breakthrough, 8, but it's just a choose. It's about your thoughts. Here's the 8 of strength and also the infinity. Doing the dance between your masculine and feminine to stay balanced. And the breakthrough is the underlying energy. Recognizing when you are feeling low so you don't allow your thoughts to go to that negative place. And the colors here are very similar, you see in the purples and pinks. Yeah, so the underlying energy is very much just about freeing yourself, keeping your heart open, the butterflies, when there's rough seas. It's like when there's rough seas and you're feeling pulled down like by these Capricorn energies, to fly up above the water, you know, up more into the air, into the etheric realms on your butterfly and gossamer wings. Right? So keep it light. Get out of the drama. Get out of the rough seas. Toggle up. Meditate. Do the things that make you feel, you know, more bliss to get you out of that state. Yeah. So it's always about your thought process. Don't let your thoughts take you to a dark place. As soon as your thoughts, you know you're getting tired, and so when you get tired, your thoughts start getting negative. Take yourself to a different place. Go lie down, relax, put on a meditation, or take a walk to displace your thoughts, you know, to get new, more fresh, invigorated thoughts. Or go with that. Work out, take a nap. Go eat. Maybe you haven't been eating enough today, or you haven't drank enough water. Even though I remind you guys every day to drink water, there's some days I forget to drink enough. So it's just reminding yourself to take care of your body, be healthy. So now we have the Metatron deck. All right, we have detached from drama, which I already said, so perfect. Look up. 37 is the King of Cups. Okay, unconditional love, which starts with you. Love yourself first. When you don't feel good, then pamper yourself. And detach from drama. Don't stay in heavy energies. And this is the other one, the void. Retreat, rest, and pause, right? So get away from everybody. Go into the vacuum. You can vacuum if it makes you feel better, but go into the vacuum, relax. Go to the void. 48, which is that 8 of Cups, walking away within. Also, self-love and nurture, the pink. Be in the pink. And pink, that was coming up with the roses too. Rosies and posies. Pink, self-love and nurture. 26 is the Page of Wands, and the underlying energy is conquering your fears. Start today, just by changing your thoughts. 17 is the star. Be the star that you are and shine your light. And there's that mother and child was also coming up in the energies today. Like if you haven't heard from your child, maybe you need to lift each other up. It goes both ways. All right. Just the energy deck, and then I'm going to be all done. We'll wrap it up. It's just 11808, which is the Magician, the Moon, and the Strength card. That, remember, it's a good time when the Moon is at half position. It's like a neutral zone, as opposed to the new moon. And sometimes it's interesting because, you know, people always talk about releasing at the full moon. And sometimes I tend to cry more at the new moon than the full moon. It just depends on what works for you. So notice how you react at each part of the cycle. All right. So from my energy deck, we have 38, the Queen of Cups. 4th chakra, Archangel Raphael, which is the heart chakra. So fall into your heart, right, when you want to balance again. 38 is the Queen of Cups. She's nurturing and loving and intuitive and healing. So don't forget to heal yourself first, okay? And then 49 wants to come out as well, which we had already, which is that Get Your Wish card, the 9 of Cups, Angel of Love. Love yourself first. And we have a masculine energy and a feminine energy here. It's like saying to connect your hearts too, because the one card is like, Raphael is like the masculine's heart, as the healing heart, and then Angel of Love has the feminine's heart. So remember to etherically connect through your cord from your heart to heart. have a little tete-a-tete. And then man holding heart is the bottom of the deck, 45, which is that 5 of Cups, that grief card, the not letting go of the past, to let go. Okay, all right, let me show you the cards. Some very nice cards there. All right, transition card is the underlying energy with the Ace of Crystals upright in the recent past. Then we have abundance in the foundation, but it's reversed. The Lovers is reversed in the middle, challenged by that Adept of Flames or the Knight of Wands. The other underlying energies there in the Star, and then we have the Page of Swords upright there, crowning position. And then we scroll across here, and you're going to see there's the Knight of Cups there, and where are you? There's the Knight of Cups there, and the Knight of Cups right there. So you see he's all right in the same location. So scroll across here, what's coming up is the 10 of Crystals upright, and the masculine seeing himself as the Ace of Orbs or Swords reversed. Around where how he's seen is the 7 of Orbs, and then we have the Hanging Man, which is reversed, and then we end up there with the Destiny or the Wheel card, which is reversed, and then the 5 of Cups, and then the Hermit, and then the Knight of Pentacles, which was reversed, so there's some stubbornness or just stillness, and then the 9 of Orbs or Swords as well. So there's definitely some more suffering and silence, stress, or purging that's coming up right now that we need to do. So allow it, it's okay. And then we end up there on the Death card, as you see, and look at the colors that came out from the numerology cards. So blue, orange, and silver, which is more about above your head, but also the sacral and the sacral and the throat, and they tend to go together a lot. Okay, 121.41. Okay, you guys. Make sure today you drink enough water. Make sure you get enough rest. I haven't gotten enough rest a couple nights. I keep waking up an hour or two too early in the morning. And then make sure you get some joy, get a good laugh, and some nature. You know, it's hard in the winter. If you can, go put your feet out and rise and be loved. Bye.